All right, hello again, everybody. Before I return to the talk about James I, Parliament, politics, in the turn of the century 1600 during Shakespeare's time, and some of the political issues that appear in the Tempest. Just a quick review of those of you who were not here. We talked about what a masque was, and it's the celebration that we see performed by Prospero's magic, in which appearances of three goddesses come and sing and bless the marriage of Ferdinand and Miranda. Three gods being Iris, who is a messenger god, a rainbow god, rainbow being referred to poetically as the watery ark. The Ceres, the goddess of grain, also known as Demeter, the goddess of abundance, of harvest, and Juno, the goddess of marriage and of the hearth. All of these three goddesses appear and put on this show of wonderment, and Ferdinand in particular is dazzled and says he never wants to leave the island. And then we have really philosophical and powerful quote by Prospero, where he says, these sights are such things as dreams are made of, and so is the world. The world is the stuff of dreams. Very interesting metaphysical proposition that Shakespeare makes. Okay, so we'll return then to this talk of the Tempest and James I. And the play, The Tempest, it seems to reflect much of the debate going on in Parliament of 1610 regarding James's financial settlement. And we'll talk about what that financial settlement is. Basically, it's James's way of saying he can collect money from the people, from his subjects as needed in order to fund the royal branch as, so basically, he reserves the right to dip into the resources of his subjects if he needs to do that. And obviously that's kind of controversial. And the idea of the Parliament having a voice, the Parliament serving as a check to the monarchical power, this was something that was very highly contested at the time, and a mark of progress, but with progress comes a lot of tension and debate. So notice all of the different power relations and the different plot lines in the play. The different plot lines including, I don't think I need to name them, but, all of the usurping going on, the conspiracies happening, also the master-slave relationships that are going on. Also important is the child-father, or the son-father, the daughter-father relationships. Prospero clearly is controlling Miranda and Ferdinand, his son. It's a different kind of a love story than we get in some of the other Shakespeare plays. So back to the historical context. We're going to look at how did Parliament go about telling James that he was abusing power? And then how did James go about arguing that he had the right to do what he needed to do? So James summoned Parliament in 1610 to secure a financial settlement so that he could be able to fund the current level of government expenses. Basically, it's a way of, raising taxes, raising revenue. The House of Commons objected to this. They said, if you were going to make such a sweeping financial decree, In what other ways are you going to show your power? James had already raised customs and taxes without asking for Parliament. So there was already this concern that he was going to overextend his power. So this plan that he called the Great Contract, would be able to allow the king to guarantee revenue as he needed it. Parliament was worried that if they objected too strongly, or if they weren't careful, that the king would just forget about Parliament altogether. Parliament would lose its voice in the government. So the session debates going on at this time focused on the relationship between the king and his subjects. What did each owe the other? What were the limits of the king's power? So we can see how such debating is going on in the Tempest. So we're going to look at both sides, the king's side and the side of Parliament. The king claimed that he had a right to the power that he claimed for himself. He defined the king's power as natural and unquestionable. The king was, in a sense, the mouthpiece of God. The ruler, the divine ruler, was so decreed by divine law. He also referred to the king as the father who was responsible for keeping the children in line and raising them properly, teaching them, the authority of a parent is a metaphor for the authority that a king has over his subjects. Another metaphor is the idea of a head of a body. The king would be the brain, and the subjects would be the body. And the brain, the head of the body, controls the rest of the body. So that analogy came up a lot. He also said that rulers were like gods. They have the power to create, to destroy, to make, and unmake their subjects. And then he also said that he can use subjects like men at a game of chess. There's a famous scene coming up. We haven't read it yet, but there's a chess match going on between Ferdinand and Miranda. And this is probably a direct reference to some of the language used in the parliamentary debates. James stood strong in order to reinforce his right to exact payments without question, and he claimed this was due to his right as a king. The commons had no right to dispute the matter, and to do so would be to question the power of God. Now, on the other side, you have the Parliament. And I will pause here. I think I'm going to run out of time for this file, and I'll take this up on the next one.